friends, enemies, and those still under review, welcome or welcome back to Elle Chats, where I chat about things that I'm a fan of. Today I'm going to be talking about Legally Blonde. I owe channel inspiration to Elle Woods for the Legally Blonde movies, and this week I'll be chatting about the book and movie differences. If you haven't seen nor read Legally Blonde, expect spoilers, because honestly this one is so near and dear to my heart that I really don't want to censor this at all. Like, this is going to be spoilerific if you've never seen it. Also, it's been out for 25 years, so it's worth a watch, it's worth a read. If you'd like to hear more from me, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. Without further ado, let's get into it. Legally Blonde, the movie, is based on the book of the same name by Amanda Brown. The book came out the same year that the movie was released, 2001. The main plot is this. Elle Woods gets dumped by her college boyfriend Warner Huntington III before he goes to law school to be more serious. Elle decides that she must follow him to law school and prove her worth to win him back. She takes the LSAT and is accepted into the same law school as Warner.
What, like it's hard?
Will she win him back or not? The movie itself is well done. It's one of those mid-budget movies that are so hard to find nowadays in Hollywood. They're meant to just turn one's brain off and have fun. One of the main themes is that people may underestimate you based on your looks, but you can prove them wrong. The book is well written and engaging. The only really negative thing about it is that it is definitely an encapsulation of its era. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, however, it just means that the references are a bit dated. As an example, Serena and Margot, Elle Woods' best friends, are watching the reality TV show The Osbournes on MTV.
Dan, what did I tell you about watching The Osbournes?
I care a lot about this movie as previously mentioned. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. Elle Woods as a movie character helped me quite a bit. I was a smart blonde girl growing up in the early aughts, and she showed that one could be intelligent and attractive. When I was pursuing my degree in 2022 to 2024, I'd throw on Legally Blonde to play in the background because if Elle Woods could do it, so could I. Legally Blonde serves as an inspiration for a lot of the theming on the channel, as I mentioned before. My actual first name starts with the letter L. My favorite color is not pink, but it's red, which is kind of close. I thought that pink was a bit less aggressive and softer on the eyes. I am planning on painting my kitchen pink though, and my air fryer is pink, and we have pink cooking utensils. I've definitely warmed back up to it as a color. I very recently read the book, and I found that I liked it too, but for different reasons. While book Elle is not quite as relatable to me, there's still the main theme of people judging her based on how she looks and assuming she won't do well. Something I noticed immediately is that in the book, Elle goes to Stanford, not to Harvard. This makes sense considering the author, Amanda Brown, wrote this book based on her experiences in Stanford Law School. The Elle in the book is not quite as relatable to me because it increases the amount of time she talks about fashion and makes fashion references. While I do have a fascination with historical fashion, it doesn't exactly translate well to modern fashion. I think setting it in Harvard for the movie was intended to underscore the culture clash that Elle goes through, and it works remarkably well in the movie. Some other immediate distinctions between the book and the movie is Bruiser's name. He's called Underdog in the book, and Vivian Kensington is not Vivian Kensington, but Sarah Nottingham. Paulette and the attempt to get Rufus back does not exist in the book. Instead, Paulette is two characters, Cosette and Eugenia. Cosette is a nail salon artist who Elle works with throughout the book, and then Eugenia is Elle's only actual friend at law school who is also interested in appearance, though not to the degree that Elle is. The inciting incident, Warner dumping her for someone more serious, is still the impetus for her to study, take the LSAT or LSAT, and go to university. Another immediate difference rears its head here. Elle doesn't submit a video essay. Instead, she goes through the regular application process. Helpful Emmett, and Elle's eventual boyfriend and husband in movie canon, is not in this book. Instead, it's Christopher Miles who actually treats her like she has a brain, who hires 4 interns from Stanford to help him with the case. She also ends up renting an apartment instead of the dorms because she still brought Underdog or Bruiser with her, and then she got a notice saying, hey, you gotta move out, you can't have a dog here. One character who changed very little, though some bits of her background change, is Brooke. She's still blonde, still a former sorority girl, still has an exercise and health business. Her alibi is different in the book. Instead of being at a liposuction appointment, she was at a Shopper Stoppers Anonymous meeting because she got addicted to shopping on the Home Shoppers Network. Professor Stromwell, the one who encourages Elle to stay in law school, doesn't exist in the book, and neither does Callahan, not really. There are so many other unique characters in the book for professors and the fellow students as well. So in the book, this is a probate hearing. They just have to clear her of felonious intent to kill her husband, which they do using the same twist that they used in the book. Chutney is still the one who kills her father and causes the whole inheritance issue. Callahan doesn't get fired because Callahan doesn't exist. The Halloween party is actually a costume party, so it isn't just like a mean prank Vivian tried to play on Elle, but it's actually a costume party. A lot of people are dressed up from the school. And in the book, because Stanford's in California, Elle does go home for Christmas. Now, her mother is a character. Her mother is an art gallery owner married to a very bland plastic surgeon. And Elle also still is involved and goes to her friend's wedding, and those are some of the major events that kind of changed from the books, but like she still gets alerted through a phone call as opposed when she's trying to seek sympathy for her bad first day. She does still forget her power book. That's what they call it in the book. She doesn't bring a laptop essentially to the first day of class and does take notes on a pink legal pad. She does wisen up and get her own book, but it's still like a major plot point for underscoring how different Elle is from her classmates. Something that the book does better, I think, is that it shows Elle's character progression better. She is messy in the book. She ends up kissing Warner while he's still with Sarah, or Vivian. I'm just going to refer to her as Sarah when I'm talking about the book, and Vivian when I'm talking about the movie. It shows how slowly they ended up defrosting to each other, starting with Valentine's Day, or the day when grades come out. Sarah ends up asking Elle for advice of how to make Warner love her more. And Elle says, "You want Warner's love? I'll tell you how to get it. Make him believe you think the sun waits to rise until he gets up," Elle said matter-of-factly. "Unqualified admiration. That's what keeps Warner going." She turned a steely glance to Sarah, whose eyes avoided her. Sarah adjusted her headband, and neither of them said another word. That is a very insightful remark about Warner, and it's something that we see demonstrated throughout the film, is that Warner's kind of self-obsessed, and I think the book also nails that portrayal, because you're able to go back and reread all the different times that he just blows Elle off or does things because he thinks this is what Sarah wants him to do or his family wants him to do. And I just quite enjoyed that part where it was just like these very razor sharp things that Elle could notice. So while the book did demonstrate Elle's intelligence and her ability to network, as she finds out the background for Brooke in the story through networking through her sorority and other sororities and people who knew Brooke, in the book she says she had practically invented her major in sociopolitical jewelry design by merging technical classes at the architecture school with sociological research on tribal ornamentation and feminist critiques of beauty myths. I think that the movie does a slightly better job of demonstrating Elle's kindness. Elle is a good example of what is known as a girl's girl. She helps Paulette get her dog back.
I'm taking the dog. Dumbass.
She helps poor awkward David get a date, and who can forget that large care package she brings to Brooke in jail. While the movie still does date itself in some ways, it's not quite the encapsulation of the early 2000s that the book is. So I think the movie does a better job of making it seem a little more timeless, other than the older laptops that everybody's carting around. I also think that the movie compiling so many characters into one or two characters really helped out the plot a lot. There is a subplot where Elle has a secret admirer who's been supplying her outlines of the lessons, so that way she can study and get better and make sure that she doesn't fail the classes. When they revealed who it was, I had to flip back in the book to figure out what was notable about him. So I do think that the compilation is very helpful and something the movie did really well in just choosing an archetype of a student and putting that into the film. In conclusion, I still think the movie is one of my favorite movies. I don't think reading the book really enhanced my movie experience. I still recommend that one should read the book and watch the movie, if only to see the differences between the two, and who knows, maybe you'll like book Elle better. The way that the book fleshed out the characters, especially Elle's mother, was very fascinating, as well as introducing so many other new characters, but it made sense. It made the world feel lived in. I can understand the limitations of the movie budget and the casting budget. that does make it hard for a movie world to feel quite as lived in as a book world. In conclusion, I enjoyed both. Like, I thought they were both a lot of fun, and both of them were kind of an encapsulation of the era, though the movie to a lesser extent. I think it's really just going to come back down to the same issue I have with Pride and Prejudice, and it's that I will choose the adaptation or the original text that I have the time for. Usually it is the movie because that comes in at a cool hour and 39 minutes. Not that the book is all that long either, it's only 278 pages. With that in mind, now I turn this to you, friend, enemy, or those under review. Do you enjoy Legally Blonde? Would you read the book? Thanks for listening to me yap on about Legally Blonde. If you enjoyed this video and would like to hear more from me, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, being a fan is fun, and have a great day.